Well, this is a surprise, and no, not just because I have Paulie back on the annual, semi-annual. I don't even know Disney review. No, it would be annual because we did Inside Out 2 last year, and that still counts for Disney. But also the fact that Paulie, this is a first, at least for me. I don't know if this is the case for you, but in that we have a Disney sequel. And I count Pixar under that brand anymore. I count Pixar under that brand as well because Pixar is pretty much, it's all Disney at this point. They're pretty much interchangeable. We got a Disney sequel released to theaters, and it didn't suck.
And
Like
it was good.
it was really no, it was no, not even just that it was good, that it was great, which I was not
Yes.
expecting at all because literally, like it's funny. I made this point when I was talking about it in my initial Letterboxd review, but when we think of Disney sequels, and I don't know if it's the same as it is for you as it is for me, but when I think of Disney sequels, I think of all the direct to DVD mid Disney sequels that we got. Like we were growing up, the all went straight to DVD. You know, your Lion King 2s and 1.5s, your Beauty and the Beast 2s, your Cinderella 2s. You know, all
Little
those ones.
Mermaid, all of those.
I think that before Rescuers Down Under came out, I think they also made like a third Rescuers that went to direct to DVD. I might be wrong about that, but so Disney's obviously modus operandi for the longest time with sequels was that we're going to go directly to DVD. They would make their money there, and that way they could keep the prestige of theaters. But then streaming came around, killed the DVD business, and now you've got, you know, and now obviously after the Pixar phenomenon of Pixar spent the better part of last decade making all sequels. They all sucked, but they were all massively, massively profitable. Yeah. And now we are in the era of, oh no, where'd you go?
I'm here.
There you are. Okay, and now we're in the era of Disney now is just making bank on their sequels. Ralph Breaks the Internet, Frozen 2, Moana 2, all massive, massive box office successes. But I mean, I'm assuming you saw all those movies because I only saw Frozen 2 and I didn't like it that much.
I read your Letterboxd review and I saw that you didn't watch like Moana 2
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, that worked out because I had you see them all for me. And I mean, you saw Ralph Breaks the Internet was long before we even knew each other, met each other. But I mean, you saw Moana 2, and I mean, you said it yourself.
It wasn't that great. Yeah, because you know that one was like you clearly can see that it was made to be a series, so you can see like this villain, this villain, this villain, every like something is like okay, it wasn't that bad, but you can see that that wasn't the purpose. Music wise, also it was like we missed Tio Lin, Tio Lin Manuel, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's without Lin, it's not the same. And I don't know, did you see the trailer for that horrifying looking live action remake?
Por Dios, what is that? Why? We don't need it. Moana is not even.
You know why? Because those movies print money. I'm sorry. The live action Lilo and Stitch and the live action How to Train Your Dragon copied and pasted from the original, and those movies printed money. It's like they're not even trying to differentiate it from the at the very least. I feel like at the very least with the live action remakes that we got from like when we were in college, right? You know, the Beauty and the Beast, those at least tried to differentiate themselves somewhat from the original animated properties versus now, like, oh, we can just literally just do AI recreations of these live action movies and we don't have these animated classics and people are still going to line up and keep going. So
I guess that the aim for this is like we are not. The goal probably is like to keep the young generations like still like, hey, in the same loop that we grew up as. But then for us, it's like, why do you do that? Just give us new stories. Give us the good thing.
Because we're not the prime demographic, and unfortunately, if there's one thing that this year and the countless past years have said, it is that nostalgia and sequels sell. Because we had how many original movies that came out this fall? I ran through the list in my previous podcast, and every single one of them flopped. Every single one. The only movie so far that have made money this entire fall season. Now You See Me 3. Wicked for Good, and now this, because I think this is set to clear like 558 million just across like the opening weekend alone, which I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's already made more money than half the movies that have come out this year. What the hell is going on? But it is like really, really sad when I feel like we have to incorporate box office discussion into our talks because we only talk about this shit because we love it. But the problem is that we have unfortunately learned at this point now because we've been doing this long enough that in order to get more of the stuff that we love, it has to make money. And the problem is when you factor making money into it, that factors in all of these other decisions that have, it creates a whole big hodgepodge. But
yeah, and I know that this is a movie, a podcast, but it happens the same for Broadway. All these shows that are opening and flopping, and they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
entertainment, the span, and what are we consuming?
So much fun.
It's
What is
crazy.
the content? What is the latest
What is
content
it?
for people to
Yeah,
sell? That's exactly it. Yeah.
crazy.
But needless to say, now I'm glad that I like all the got all the negative rhetoric out of the way because I feel like that's kind of setting us up for I feel like a really positive spin because we go into most of these movies with such negative expectations now. Like I said, I remember last year you wanted to get me to go see Moana 2 with you, and you were like, and I'm like, it's not going to be good. And then you watch it, and you were like, oh, that wasn't good. And then yeah, and then you were I don't remember who was it that said it first, if it was you or me that said like that felt like a TV show that got repurposed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because it was. But yeah, Zootopia 2 had very little expectations for this going in. It's been almost a decade since the original, which oh boy, I'm like, wait, the original came out when I was in college. I'm like, oh no.
2016,
That,
right?
yeah, that was horrifying. And enough as it is. And so obviously it had all the warning signs on the wall. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, wow, I really enjoyed it. This is actually really, really good. I had a really good time with this.
It was great. Like after this one, I can understand why they are building a Zootopia in the parks.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
it makes sense totally. I think we needed it. Like, are we getting into the movie now?
Oh yeah. We're gonna get to the movie now.
Okay, perfect. Because the first one it's good. Like I love it. I love you have Disney bringing again his their charm with the animals talking. But I didn't understood how Zootopia worked. Like, okay, it's a city where animals like rule and everything, but this one make a lot of sense, like with the divisions and how they like coexist together. It was like, I was like, that's great. That's so smart.
See, it's so funny because again, part of the charm of the first Utopia is the fact that it felt like a kind of conglomeration and a coming together of a lot of the different things that had made Disney great in the past. Where it's like they took like probably what was the centerpiece of a lot of their charm for a lot of the movies we had growing up, talking animals. Like they cornered the market on that, and they were like, "What if we gave like talking animals their own society? Right? We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. That's already gonna give us a plethora to do with like a lot of just the architecture and the way that this society functions." Not to mention giving us a plethora of opportunity for a ton of animal-based puns, which again, there is no shortage of that across both these movies. And we're going to use that as a means to kind of explore current like societal issues in a vein that makes sense to kids. And like I said this when I saw the first Utopia back in 2016 because it was a little less than a year than Inside Out after the first Inside Out had come out. So it's actually funny. There was like I want to say there was like an 8 to 10 month gap between the first Inside Out and Zootopia, and now there's like an 8 to 10 month gap between. Actually, no,
Oh, yeah.
a little bit older than that because Inside Out 2 was June of last year, and now we're in
Yeah.
November of this year, almost December. Oh my god, this year went by fast. But I do think it is quite interesting how Inside Out, I feel like was this ingenious way of exploring mental health and emotions, and then Zootopia was a really interesting way of exploring like race and race relations and stuff like that. And while I think this is a significantly better sequel than Inside Out 2, I think that both of these sequels serve really good purposes instead of doing, what good sequels are supposed to do in terms of taking the ideas in the originals and themes of the original and elevating that to the new level, where Inside Out 2 kind of took the natural next step in terms of, okay, first we explored like childhood emotions, and now we're going to explore like teenage girl emotions. And then this one is like, okay, we explored like kind of, just base-born racism in the last one. And now this one, we're going to go into, what kind of, we're going to like kind of take the next step above that in terms of like, oligarchs and society and how that's built and how certain groups of people will take advantage of other groups of people for their own monetary and societal gains, stepping up the societal
Yeah.
ladder. So I was really, really impressed that Zootopia 2 continue that because I feel like most of the time they're like either trying to like really dumb it down and, make it so that it's for the next, audience because we've kind of aged out. But I appreciate that they were still like kind of holding on to what it is that made them good in the first place.
Yeah, I really love the themes. I was telling Jeremy that movies nowadays they don't have like uh like something to learn or something to take. They're just like making it for pure entertainment or whatever. Before they used to have like be kind or like be true to yourself or follow whatever. Like they have like a message. I remember that my mom, every time that we went to the movies and we came out, they were like, okay, what did you learn from the movie? Oh, to be good to my friends, to not to whatever. Like there was like a learning point. But lately I'm like, okay, I didn't learn nothing. Like I didn't got nothing from the movie. And Zootopia was full, like in the movie theater that I was at, you got like grown-ups like reacting to when the fox like responded to the bunny, or you have the kids like laughing to the animal puns, you know. So I was like, I really love this. It's a good way
Almost
to like
like
put it
it
there.
sounds like you had a general communal theater experience, which, if memory serves, is almost kind of, the reason why we love movies, is part of that whole getting that whole experience, getting to experience, something like that with a variety of different people of all different ages that come from all different walks of life and experiencing this one thing and enjoying it together. Almost like that's what made movies and the theatrical experience what it is before it's streaming and modern day just dynamics because of social media have just basically destroyed that completely. So, um, but yeah, like I said, going into it, had little to no expectations, came out of it, really, 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 really enjoyed it. Like, really enjoyed it. Like, from the start, it was like, okay, that we have not missed a beat. And I love how, too, when you have movies that are like set like a decade after it, but they pick up immediately after the first one, like no time has passed. And what I particularly appreciate, not only just about Zootopia, the sequel, but about Zootopia, the property in general, is that it was the latest in a line of Disney properties that were showing that, like, okay, they were much more so following the Pixar route in terms of, okay, we can just like, we don't have to make every movie a musical, and we can make like these really interesting and ingenious stories, and standing on their own, Wreck-It Ralph, they were appealing to the video game crowd, and then Big Hero 6, obviously the superhero crowd, and then Zootopia, what was interesting is that outside of obviously the race relations through animals thing, they were also doing it as like a buddy cop thing dynamic, and it worked really well in terms of the first one. It's like, oh, who are the naturally perceived enemies? Predators. Oh, well, it would be really funny if we did like a predator and a prey. And in this case, they and now in the case of the sequel, they're getting into like, okay, like we got all that out of the way. Now we can get into like character dynamics in terms of what happens when we team up the slacker who doesn't take anything seriously with the uptight type A bunny that is super OCD and has to do everything by the book. And they explored those dynamics to a freaking T.
It was great. The ending, like when they talk and they are like, um, they communicate like in an assertive way. I was like, that's what we need. Like that's what
The trauma
everyone
dumping
need.
scene.
The what? Yeah, yeah,
Trauma
yeah.
dumping scene. Yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm so sorry that I'm reacting like this, but it's because of this, of this, of this. And hey, and they represent them as partners. They're not a couple per se. Like they
Yeah.
are not. They're just a partners that they're working together, and they're not best. Like it's. I like the dynamics and that they didn't like chip them.
Yeah.
Like from like right away.
Yeah, which is funny because there was a point in this where I was worried that they were going to do that, but thankfully they didn't do that, and they just like stuck it to what's it called, and they just stuck to their guns and what made them good. So as far as we should probably get into the plot as far as what actually happened to this movie. So like I said, it picks up immediately after the events of the first one. You are following once again Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps as as the city is doing what it always does with celebrities, where they're celebrating them at first. And then they're like, oh, but is this like a recurring thing, or is this just like a one-hit wonder, where they're immediately being doubted, like, oh, is their partnership going to be the best thing or the worst thing that's happened to the Zootopia Police Department? As it shows that they're immediately doing another case that ends in absolute disaster and more damages to the city. So then you have them taking on a new mystery, which sees them exploring the origins of Zootopia, as well as pursuing a snake suspect, which is apparently a very hot topic since snakes and other reptiles have also not been seen and have basically been banned in Zootopia for the last 100 years, which I was like, okay, that was actually kind of interesting and honestly good on the creators for the fact that they looked over all of their, first movie and were like, wait, we didn't
We
have
don't
any
have that.
reptiles here. Like
That's
that was pretty
crazy.
good.
That was
That was
crazy.
pretty
How
good.
you picture like all these animals like in the background or whatever, and you don't have like one type of animal. Like what? That's crazy.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised, but again, like kudos to them because like they unintentionally created like an interesting way to explore
Yeah.
in the sequels, and that of course gets them fully into another conspiracy that goes all the way back to the city's origins. They find themselves on the run after a case of mistaken identity, and of course there's the usual plot twists, betrayals, surprises, arguments between buddy cops. And again, it brings me into kind of what I loved really the most about this is the fact that despite the fact that Zootopia is yet another message movie, I like that it does what message movies of old did, which is where it made the message the natural direction as a natural result of the story, rather than just having it be like, oh, this is a message and we're just going to beat you over the head with it.
Mhm.
Like, I like that it was the same with the first Zootopia as it was here, where even though the theme was very, very prevalent, the central mystery of the story is the centerfold. And I like how Disney has essentially cornered the bar and made their own version of Lethal Weapon, which is never something that I would have imagined that Disney would be capable of doing, but they somehow did it.
Yeah, it's just also. Oh no, I don't want to take it, but every time that well, not every time because this is only the second one, but all the details in the animation, like when Nick was going through like
Oh
Disney
yeah.
Plus, and then you see
The
like
very
Hamilton,
obvious
like
like Disney jokes they
I
were making.
just
Yeah, I love
love
that. I
how
love that.
yes, it's just like I want to see it again just to catch all those again, you know, because yeah.
Yeah, there were a million different references. Oh, and then when you saw Duke Weaselton, and he was doing all of like the Disney parody versions of all those movies. That was great. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, so Disney is capable of making fun of themselves just a little bit, you know. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, as far as voice cast, I gotta consult my letterbox again here because I had like a bunch of points that I brought up in there that
Oh,
what's
I read your letterbox and all these like points to the voice. I just have to say that I can wait to watch it in Spanish because they also casted great people for the Latin American like dubbing.
oh really?
So I
Anybody I
yeah,
would know or
I don't. The snake, for example, is the same guy that makes Aladdin. Like it's Aladdin's voice.
oh okay, got it.
It's Jerry. He's a great like musical theater kid.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, we got a couple of new additions this time. So obviously we have a bunch of returning people. Jason Bateman is Nick Wilde. Jennifer Goodman is Judy Hopps, who again are two of the most inspired Disney castings in recent memory. So I thought that was awesome. A couple of other returning faces here. Idris Elba as Chief Bogo. What's it called? Shakira as Gazelle. Nate Torrance as Clawhauser. Bonnie Hunt and Don Lake as her parents. But I want to get into some of the Alan Tudyk as Duke Weaselton, Maurice LaMarcus, Mr. Big, one of my favorite all-time like recent casting edition like that you don't understand. Like when they chucked a Godfather reference
Oh
and
my God.
straight up caricature right in the middle of the first one, I'm like, oh, this is
That's
gold. And like all the
there were a
jokes.
lot of references.
Oh,
Also,
it's so
there was
great.
this on the jail when the sheep is behind the glass with the
Yeah.
which movie
There
is that?
were a ton of references like that. Like
Yeah, it was so
there
fun.
was a Titanic reference, a Silence of the Lambs
Silence of
reference.
the
The
Lambs.
whole
Yeah,
third
that
act,
one.
they have them running through a shining essays, and that had me in tears. Like I was laughing so hard that a kid next to me had to like tell me to be quiet. I'm like, you wouldn't get it. You don't get why this is as funny as it is. So, like
Exactly.
it's always funny when like you have movies that are there for kids and shit that's in there blatantly for people like us. Because it's like, you know what it is? It's kind of the same as like the reason like why we are able to like still love the animated movies that we loved growing up because of all the adult jokes that they would throw in there that we
Now
wouldn't
you get it.
get as kids, but now we get it. I feel like they're kind of doing the version of that now, where like you have all of these random movie references that the kids are not going to get, but we as adults are going to like absolutely love. But a couple of the new additions that we have cast-wise. So the primary one is Kiwi Kwan, Short Round himself as Gary Disnake, who is the centerpiece of this mystery. Andy Samberg as Paulbert Linksley, who is the young screw-up member of the Linksley family, who are the central antagonists. David Strathairn as Milton Linksley. Fortune Feimster as Nibbles Maplestick, a conspiracy theory podcast beaver. You have
That was fun.
Michelle Gomez as Hogbottom, who is one of the cops that is chasing them. And you also have a couple of some really, really fun ones here. You have
Danny Trejo as the lizard.
Danny Trejo as the what kind of a lizard was that? Was that an iguana or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just say it's that. John Leguizamo was the anteater from the beginning. Macaulay Culkin and Brenda Song.
Macaulay Culkin.
That was a fun little insert there as the other Linksley ones. The Zebros as well. I thought it was. You had some really funny ones there. I think it was Roman Reigns, and I forgot who the other one was as the Zebros. I thought that was pretty funny. And yeah, just a bunch of like other like big. Oh, and one of my favorite ones too, Patrick Warburton as the new mayor, Mayor Brian Windancer, a movie star turned mayor of the horses.
The
there was
horse,
some really great. So again, just continuing with the on point with the jokes there. Like some of these jokes were absolutely great. Like when Clawhauser is trying to get into the tech guy's chair and he accidentally traps him in donuts. Just some A tier quality joke.
Yeah.
Everything that happened in the Soggy Bottom, the Reptileville with the walruses and the fish and like everything with the sea lion, where it's like you can't feed the sea, you can't give the sea lion
like
gold coins coins because it's a choking hazard. So just so,
You
and then
cannot
also
talk with them.
Burning Paw, like the music festival, like just some top tier, grade
That
A
was
humor
great.
there. Like
That
that
was
was just
great.
really really funny.
Yeah,
Oh man,
that was very good.
what was your favorite joke from the movie?
What the pork? What the pork?
It's just like it's so stupid, but at the same time, like it's so clever and well thought out that you have to laugh at it. Like they really, like, and that's the
Yeah,
thing too that I give these guys credit for is they really, really do pay a lot of attention and put a lot of detail into these things because oh man, like I remember that part of that when they were working on the first Zootopia, they were talking a lot about how like they studied like animals like in the wild and their habitats like really really in depth so that they could like get them as close to it as possible when they were animating them like their habits and everything. And so I thought that was just really really funny. What did you think of like
well,
the character
well,
dynamics?
what was yours?
Oh, probably the Shining joke easily at the end. It
Yeah,
had to. It was just so random and unexpected, but it just made like perfect sense. Like it's one of those things where you're like, this almost like is like too big of a joke for like a movie like this. Because like I said, it's like you either have animal based jokes or other random like Disney poking fun of itself like jokes. And that's kind of neither. So that's one that's like felt like it was aimed directly at like movie lovers as well. Like that's to me the equivalent of the Mr. Big being a hysterical joke for like anybody who's seen The Godfather. But like I don't know
the
a single
Godfather.
person,
Yeah, like
right? But I don't
the
know a single
main.
person under the age of like 25 that's watched The Godfather. So that's why I thought that like that one was just like even funnier because I'm like, oh, those are jokes that are made for people like me, you know? So like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm always gonna be more
For
preferential to that.
for other actors.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not just for actors, just for movie people in
Yeah,
general. But
yeah.
yeah, what did you think of the Nick Judy relationship and dynamic this time and how it progressed from the last one?
I like it. I still have like an ick with the fox. I don't know if I don't like I understand the dynamics and the I like I don't think I like the drawing like his design. So it gives me like a I don't know. I don't like him that much, but I really like the development of the story because again, they ship them as just partners. Uh and they open their hearts to like throughout the movie you see them like living together and working together and having a life as you and I we sometimes we get along and then we don't get along and then you
What are you
tell me
talking
like
about? We
hey
always get along.
we always get along but hey I don't like that you did this and that and then it's like oh, okay
Right.
yeah I'm sorry okay yeah then everything's fine you know
Yes, we hug, we make up, we move on because that's what adults do.
yeah because that's how life works you know and it was fun and also the movie kept me like I got a jump scare in one point of the movie. I was like so into it that something happened, and I don't know if the house break or something. That I was like,
I don't.
and I keep,
I think I know which one that is too.
yeah, and I keep being like so audible throughout the movie, and I was like, I'm loving this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like that because so much of the time with movies like this, when you have a dynamic like this, it's either one of two things. They're like, okay, it's a guy and a girl, so we have to ship them romantically, or it's we have to reset them from scratch and start over from zero and have them go back to square one where they were at the beginning of last movie. And I'm glad that they didn't do either of those things. They recognize the fact that okay, Nick and Judy have already been through
They
this
can
one
be
movie.
friends, yeah.
They've already been through this adventure. They've already gotten the whole predator prey, like kind of smart aleck versus type A, out of the way. Now we're gonna like continue to explore this relationship. And I like how they were able to do that in a way where it both played with both their strengths and their weaknesses, why these two are perfect for each other, why these two need each other both on a professional and a personal level, while also not making it be like, oh, they're best friends now and they're going to be completely in sync and everything they do is going to be, is going to be perfectly synchronized. No, they didn't do that either, which I really, really enjoyed. And I like how, again, it was continuing to go with their traumas and past is what's motivating them, where Judy is entirely motivated by the fact that she was always told from a young age that she could not do this one thing. So she's like, okay, I'm going to do everything to prove everybody wrong and become a cop in the big city, despite the fact that I'm a tiny, adorable bunny, as opposed to all these, very big, very imposing animals that she's with in the Zootopia Police Department. While Nick was a dude who always wanted to aspire to be something, but was constantly told no by the world, and so as a result, decided to simply just aspire to be his to be what the world thought of him, which was to be just, an untrustworthy, sly
Untrustworthy.
fox. And now he's just getting past the fact that he is constantly using humor and being a slacker to cover up for the fact that, oh, every time I've tried to do something in the past, I've been perceived as a disappointment, or I have been a disappointment. So I like that they did that, and I like that they actually played into those complex character dynamics that like makes them like fully fleshed out 3-dimensional characters.
Yeah. Also, the character. What's the name of the fox? Poverty.
These names, they're great names.
I
Paubert
know.
Linksley.
Pop that one. That
Yeah,
guy. I was like, when I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to say his name.
yeah.
'Cause I just, that I also like the development of his character too, and the snake and the beaver. They were good. They were
Yeah.
interesting. Like as you said, 3-dimensional. So yeah.
Yeah, I also liked it. Just the beaver got to me a little bit. Well, especially because that was a little bit of a like twist on expectations, where immediately you hear conspiracy theory touting podcaster, and you immediately think of somebody like Joe Rogan or something like that. But I like that they kind of went in the opposite direction as well. Also, having Fortune Feimster in there was, I thought, a absolutely genius casting decision, because it's like, oh, it's because Fortune Feimster is a walking dichotomy as well, who in that she's in that in that she's an LGBTQ plus person who sounds like she's like from like a bum from the deep south. So I thought that was hysterical how they mixed and matched that dynamic. And also Kiwi Kwan, I mean, he's been pretty much exclusively scooped by Disney since his Oscar win 3 years ago for Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is still one of the more like one of the best like comeback roles for an actor possibly that I've ever seen. And it was just like, every time you see his voice now, you just immediately recognize him. Like, he's kind of like, he's become known for his type, but he's always a joy. And Sandberg to me was the surprise, because Andy Samberg is another guy where you have such this expectation of, based off things like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like Palm Springs, Hot Rod, The Lonely Island, all the comedy shtick things that he's done. He's always going to be the dude who you assume to be a screw up, is largely shown to be incompetent, but then always pulls out that he's actually a genius at the end. And I'm waiting for the tell. I'm like, okay, he's the screw up with the family. He's trying to help them. When's the twist? When's the jump going to come? And I was hoping it didn't come, but then that was the twist that happened. And I'm guessing that is exactly the moment that was the jump scare for you.
Yeah. I really want to watch it again.
Yeah.
I usually don't watch movies like twice in movie theaters, except for Sinners, because
that was that good.
And Wicked, the first Wicked, because the first one I didn't like it, so I was like, I need to watch it again because I don't know.
Wait, you didn't like the first Wicked that much?
No.
Really? That's so interesting. And what about this new one?
Oh, I love it. It was good. Yeah.
Interesting.
Better.
I'm the total opposite on that. So.
I heard you. I
know you did. I know you did. Yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk about that, but we will. We will. But yeah, so like I said, the Andy Samberg character I thought was funny and well done. And yeah, like I said, it was just, I was really, really pleasantly surprised and really happy, because the thing too that I was thinking about is, I'm like, this is the first Disney theatrically released sequel, I think probably since Toy Story 2 that I've actually like really enjoyed. That was really good, because the thing is that everybody loved the majority of those Pixar sequels that came out in the 2010s, except for Cars 2. Everybody hates Cars 2. And I mean, I came around a little bit on Monsters University once I realized that. I'm like, oh, like that's a prequel. It's going for something different. But like all those sequels that came out in the 2010s for Pixar, I wasn't a fan of. I didn't like Finding Dory. I hated Incredibles 2. I didn't like Toy Story 4. And I don't know if that was just because I was still in kind of like my 2000s like heyday of Pixar era, and now obviously my expectations have been severely tempered, both because of A, the quality of those types of animated movies, and B, because of, obviously just I've grown out of that phase in my life, and kind of the wonder phase, I guess you could say, that I had, during the 2000s growing up watching all those movies is kind of behind me. But yeah, it was I guess my expectations have been lowered so much that when they make a competent movie, I'm just genuinely surprised that it can actually be good. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
I have a little more like tenderness in my heart for the movies, because they're still Disney, and some of the characters I'm like, okay, like I don't mind, it's just like I can always find something in the story. Like Frozen 2, I liked it. Cars 2, I don't remember it. I loved Finding Dory, but because Dory is in my heart for forever.
Yeah, because so I
always, yes, I am. So I always find like something like, okay, it wasn't like that bad. Like it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. But with Zootopia, I think that it was great. Like it wasn't just a
Yeah.
good, it was great, it was well done, it was entertaining, it was the plot was really good, the development of the characters. The music is good. I love it's the same guy that makes
Yeah.
the Incredibles, right?
Yeah.
I love the soundtrack. That was also
Yes.
one of my
Very, very
points.
good score.
I love the score. Hmm.
Yeah. My only gripe with the music is that the Shakira song this time was not nearly as iconic as the first Shakira song for the first one.
See, they repeated it. Like I thought in the concert it was gonna be another one, and they repeated the same one. Yo, give me
I mean,
more Shakira songs.
yeah.
Gazelle,
Well, I mean,
please.
they did say they only had the one Shakira song for the first one too, but yeah,
But you
it was
only saw it
very,
once.
yeah. Well, no, you heard it playing underneath like when she first goes to Zootopia, but you didn't see her perform it in the movie more than once. That was the difference. This time,
Uh-huh.
you're right. You saw her perform it
You
twice.
saw her performing twice, and I was like,
Yeah. Okay.
Shaggy, why you didn't create it two songs? Come on, Shaggy.
They only paid her for one song. That's why she's expensive. You know, they're Disney's they're
Um,
expensive. She's expensive and Disney's cheap. So
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah. Yeah, the song it wasn't. I want to listen to it again because during the movie I was like Sue Sue Sue, but now I cannot remember
And
how
now you
the
can't
thing
remember it. So now
goes.
you're like, shit, I gotta go on Spotify. You're like,
Yeah,
I'm
oh
not 19
Sue Sue
anymore. I
Sue.
gotta listen back to this stuff to remember it again.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, I think I answered the question, right?
Yeah,
That
yes, you did. My only last question, kind of before we wrap up and get out of here, is what's it called? Do you think this has a chance of beating K-pop Demon Hunters at the Oscars for animated feature?
I I I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
It's tough because
this has to help, but the thing is though is that I don't think, first of all, a Disney sequel has not won since 2019 because Toy Story 4 got it in 2019 famously. Like they hedged their bets behind Toy Story 4 rather than Frozen 2 and they paid off. But yeah, because the animated winners since the beginning of the decade, so you had Soul and Encanto at the beginning of the
Mhm.
decade, but then since then I don't think any of the previous winners have been um oh no, Inside Out 2 won last. No, it did not win last year. Yeah, none of the previous couple of
No,
winners have been, because 2022 was the Pinocchio that went to Netflix, the Guillermo del Toro one. 23 was Boy and the Heron, the Miyazaki one, and last year was Flow, the Latvian movie. So
yeah.
yeah, so a Disney movie, and on top of that, a Disney sequel. So it's already got and K-pop Demon Hunters is the phenomenon of the freaking year. Like,
It is like it has a super weight. I'm gonna compare it to the final of Dancing with the Stars.
I mean,
How Robert Irwin
that's an
has
apt
like so
comparison right
popular.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is an apt comparison.
Uh, and Alex was still like super good, but then you have Robert Irwin that it was like. So I think like the K-pop Demon Hunters is Robert Irvin and
Yeah, and K-pop
Zootopia
Demon
2
Hunter. I mean,
is
you
Alex.
saw it. Like that thing was the freaking little engine that could, and now it has become the freaking juggernaut that has yet to be topped in terms of just everything. Like I'm still convinced, like that's going to be the major takeaway movie when people think of 2025. I'm talking like normal people. Like that thing
Yeah.
was the most watched. That thing was the event of the summer. I watched it like 3 times. Like I'm still listening to the soundtrack. Like.
I watched it 5 times because of the kids that I was like
Yeah,
babysitting
and
at that time,
eventually it
and that
became
was
the
the only
brain
thing
worm
that
in your head, so you couldn't get it out.
and this, I think the songs are good. Okay, I like the big monster, the big tiger. That one is cute. Okay,
It's
I
checking off
really,
all the Disney Girl boxes. I'm just
I
saying.
know, right?
Yep.
I hope that Zootopia 2 wins though. Like,
Yeah,
okay, I
I'm
think
torn
K-pop.
because the thing is that I'm like, one is a really, 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 really good sequel to what Disney's, and I'm gonna say it right here, Disney's best movie that they put out quality wise the last decade. Sorry, it ain't Tangled, it ain't Moana. Zootopia is their best movie that they put out last decade, bar none. And the other one is K-pop Demon Hunters, which unfortunately also is in my top 10 of the year, which Zootopia 2 is not.
That's
So
yeah.
yeah, it's tricky as far as I'm
Indeed.
like, and also the fact that I'm like, sorry, it's Disney. They've won enough. They've won enough. Give it to let
Yeah,
other
that's
people
true.
like win it for a change.
That's
So
yeah.
yeah, and so really all it's going to come down to is just how much Netflix hates the Oscars continue to hate on Netflix, despite the fact that they're slowly taking over the industry, one facet at a time. So that's really what it's going to come down to. But overall, your final thoughts and star rating for Zootopia 2.
I gave it a 4.5 on my letterbox. I liked it. Again, I will watch it again because I really enjoy it. I want to take Jeremy to see it so we can
Yeah.
watch it together. I'm excited for the world. Like I really want to see how they're gonna do that on a Disney park. After seeing what they did with Pandora, and I think it was Pandora on the Galaxy's Edge, and I don't think they have like a new like design land
Yeah,
in.
because Star Wars was before Pandora, right? The Star Wars land that they built?
No, it was after.
It was after?
Mhm.
Okay, I thought that was before.
No, it was like a year or two after.
Okay.
Like I know that in Paris or in Hong Kong they're building like the frozen land,
Yes.
whatever. But I really want to see because it's gonna be so much fun. Are we gonna be like the size of a mouse, the size of the giraffe? Like I don't know. I really am super excited. There's a new game in. I know this is not about the parks, but you're talking to
It's
the
all tied
Disney
to
girl.
Disney, so it all works out.
There's a new game dedicated to Zootopia 2 that it's in Animal Kingdom under the Tree of Life. It used to be from its stuff to be a bug. It was a horrible game. I hated it because the animals like crawled under your seat and it was like 4D, whatever. And I was like, I
Oh,
hated
yeah.
it. And they changed it to the Zootopia game. So I'm going this December and I'll tell you how that was.
All
How
right,
it
please do.
went.
Yeah, let me know if the quality of it has changed, despite the fact that they only changed the theme. So
Yeah,
we will
I'll
see on
tell
that end.
you.
Yeah. Like I said, I really enjoyed this. Like I said, really just no complaints. Anything. Just like I said, a solid, pleasant holiday surprise that I was not expected to enjoy nearly as much as I did. So yeah, easy 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. Did it crack the top 10? No, but like I said, in today's
It
day and
was
age, the
good.
fact that I can get surprised by something just being a really good, solid movie, I'll take that. Honestly, I will.
Yeah.
So. Polly, thank you once again for joining me. This was an absolute
Thank
blast. My pleasure.
you.
My recurring Disney expert who I have
See you.
on every
Yes.
time.
See you.
Every time that we have a Disney movie worth talking about, because I remember we were gonna do it
Elio,
for
we need to
Wish.
watch Elio. Wish we
Yeah,
trust
Wish
me.
we could just forget that Wish even exists. Elio, you're right. That was a glaring blind spot. But in fairness, June was a very busy, very, very busy month for me. And I ended up reviewing and Materialists came out that weekend also. So I kind of had a little bit of preoccupied. But don't worry, we will reunite next year I think Disney has 2 originals coming out next year, if I'm not mistaken. They have Hoppers in March, and then they have Hexed is their next year's holiday extravaganza. So we'll see. And then Pixar, oh yeah, Toy Story 5 is next
Toy
year.
Story 5, which I don't.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Get me
I think
started.
it's really, really funny that it's like, oh, the toys are fighting iPads now. Like,
I
that
guess
is
I
hysterical to
want to
me.
see that.
That is hysterical to me because I don't even know how logistically that's going to work. But yeah, needless to say, I'm like, not
I'm
a
just
fan.
curious to see how they're gonna
Exactly.
develop it, but it's okay.
Yeah. But anyways, I will see you for next year's Disney movies. Now, where can the good people follow you on the interwebs?
I'm at Poli Rivero. ¿Cómo se llama? How do you say the
Underscore.
thing? Underscore. Yes. At
I can
Poli
still read you
Rivero.
like a book. It's so helpful.
Rivero, like a river with an O at the end and underscore. That word, it's always between dash, slash, under. They're all.
I know. Listen. It took me a while to learn all the terms too. Oh man, you guys can follow me with everything going on at Movie Nerd Reviews across all platforms, at Official Talkin TV Podcast across all platforms. Be sure to check out the Talkin TV merch store at the link in the bio. And as always, people, 12 seasons of short film, and I will see you guys tomorrow for mine and Luke's next Lost recap. See ya.